Do you walk by bars, peer inside at the patrons, and wish you could go inside, but you wouldn't know what to order? Then you're a whiskey noob. But it's okay, because we got you here at Whiskey and Literature. It wasn't that long ago we were in the same position. I was 47 years old the first time I walked into a bar and ordered a drink. So here is my strategy, or what I order at 5 different kinds of bars. First up, the dive bar. And if you walk into a bar and you're like, I wonder if this is a dive bar, then it's not a dive bar. Because when you're at a dive bar, there's no question that you're in a dive bar. And your number one goal when you enter a dive bar is to exit that place without contracting hepatitis or gonorrhea. And we're going to apply the KISS principle in a dive bar. That's keep it simple, stupid. Just order a Jack and Coke. And if you're lucky, that drink will come in a clean, unused red Solo cup. You'll be able to sit there and watch the bartender make it. So when you enter a dive bar, keep it simple, play it safe, and live to fight another day. Okay, the second kind of bar is a sports bar. And you know the type. Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings, Duffy's, Miller's Ale House. I'll even consider Applebee's and Chili's. And you can order cocktails at these kinds of places. There'll be variations of the classics with really cool names, like the 4th Down Punt or the Triple Threat. So what you can expect is an overly sweet pre-mixed cocktail, or perhaps it'll be a ready-made, or it'll be a made cocktail by some kid who's just following a recipe. Now, sometimes at these kinds of places, you can't just say, hey, I'll have a regular old-fashioned, but adjust your expectations. You're gonna get what you get at these kinds of places. Just sit back, order one of their cocktails, and enjoy the game. Okay, third, we're talking like high-end restaurants now. And I'm drawing a blank, trying to think of a name of a nationwide high-end restaurant where I've had good cocktails. But I have been at nice restaurants and they've been great. Places like Traverse City, Salt Lake City, Denver, St. Pete. And what they all have in common is they'll have a much nicer selection of whiskey than at the sports bar. And you can confidently order a sidecar knowing that the bartender is not going to have to Google the recipe. So when I go to these kinds of places, I usually order 2 drinks, 1 cocktail and 1 neat pour of something that I haven't had before or something that I really, really enjoy. I think it's a good opportunity to let someone who really knows what they're doing make you a cocktail. And maybe this is more of a wine thing, but it does happen that some cocktails go better with certain foods. So some of these servers are really good, and if you tell them what you're ordering food-wise, they'll suggest a cocktail to go with it. So go with that flow and just see what happens. Okay, the 4th kind of bar is this dedicated high-end bar. Now maybe they have small bites at these kinds of places, but they'll definitely focus on the drinking experience. And like the high-end restaurant, I'll usually order myself a cocktail and a neat pour. Or sometimes on my mood, I'll just order 2 or 3 neat pours. Oftentimes at places like this, it is a great opportunity to try a whiskey from a bottle that you are never ever gonna own. And as far as the premium whiskeys go, you can expect to pay $50 oftentimes for an ounce. I've bought numerous pours for that price of things that I've enjoyed, and I make okay money, but I've seen prices for an ounce of whiskey on the really premium stuff topping $200 to $300 per ounce. I'm not quite there in my life yet, but if you've done that sort of thing, you've had a great pour like that, feel free to let us know. Okay, the 5th kind of bar that I really enjoy is the Speakeasy, and I like going to Speakeasys. We've been to a couple in Barcelona, we've been to one in Denver and Phoenix and Salt Lake City and St. Petersburg and Nashville. And usually they have some kind of code or password. Oftentimes you can get that by following their page on Instagram, or like the red phone booth on Nashville, you have to go on a little hunt to find a phone booth or to find the phone number to use in the phone booth to get into the Speakeasy. I found that there's really two kinds of speakeasies. Those that focus on custom cocktails, and they won't even really make you an regular old-fashioned if you ask for it. Some of those, like El Paradiso in Barcelona, they really elevate the cocktail and the experience. Some of them, like the Saint in St. Petersburg, they rely on their atmosphere to make up for their overly sweet, not so great cocktails. And truly, in all the ones I've been to, I've really enjoyed the Red Phone Booth the most. They really put on a great experience, from the hunt to get the phone number to getting through the phone.
Good, how are you? How many in your party?
Everything was really good. Their servers were amazing. I appreciated their really nice selection of whiskey. Some of the party that we were with, and we had 6 people, 4 of them really aren't big cocktail drinkers. They didn't really know what to order. And the server, she was great. They asked them what type of spirits typically they drank, if they prefer dry or sweet, or if there's any fruits they like or don't like. And they custom made them some cocktails, and they were all really good. So when I was at the Red Phone Booth, my order was an Eagle Rare 17 neat and an old fashioned. Okay, my thoughts about going to bars. I really like going to bars. I like sitting at the bar and looking at their whiskey selection and comparing it to what I have at my house. I understand that bellying up to a bar for the first time can be somewhat intimidating. And heaven knows, I've had some god-awful drinks made for me at some of these bars. I've even had old fashions that have had entire orange wedges muddled inside of them. But I think if you adjust your expectations to the kind of bar that you've walked into, you almost can't be disappointed. So for me, my default order when I go to a bar, if I'm really struggling for something, is either a Jack and Coke or an old fashioned. I really think you can judge a bar or a bartender by their old fashioned. So I think if you stick to that, then you can walk into a bar confidently and look a little less like a whiskey noob. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Do you like going to bars? Do you have a favorite drink when you go to a bar? Do you have a default? Like yesterday, I walked into one that I've been to a couple of times, and I was just super hot and sweaty, and I was gonna get myself a hamburger. So a Jack and Coke seemed really appropriate for that type of setting and for that type of bar. But usually at places that are just a little bit higher, man, it's just bring me a nice old fashioned. Or maybe a whiskey sour. All right, guys, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. What do you think? And do you have a favorite bar that you've been to? Have you been to a speakeasy and a favorite one? And what was the process to get in it? And why did you really enjoy it? Or maybe what is the nicest pour, the best pour of whiskey that you've ever had? Man, I really enjoyed that phone booth, or the Red Phone Booth in Nashville. That was fantastic. There's a little bar in Traverse City. It's called The Bar. That was great. There's one in Salt Lake City. I can't remember what the name of that one was. But man, I've really had a good time, good experiences. And I've shared some moments with friends. There's just something about going with someone that you care for or a friend of yours, going and sharing some of that bar time and maybe having a conversation that you wouldn't or couldn't have anywhere else. Guys, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to see more of my content. Again, I do both whiskey and book reviews. But for now, my friends, you know what to do. I hope you're reading something good, drinking something great, and wear that damn hat. Cheers.